Many people say Putin is planning. Many people say Putin is planning just to colonize Africa. But I disagree with people on that. You know why? Putin is not planning to colonize any Africa. Putin is trying to fight peoples, to fight against peoples. Putin is trying to deal with the West. Putin knows the weak point of the West.
Many people, they ask me, say, what be the interests of Russians in Africa? What be the interests of Russians in Francophone countries? Now, this is your answer. Hear the answer on your own self and watch how it come out for the horse's mouth. Pandimaka.
That's why Putin is doing all this. That's why many people say, no, Putin is trying to control Africa. Putin is trying to colonize Africa. Putin is not trying to colonize any Africa. What could Africa have that Putin don't have? Is it weapon? Putin have weapon till he give weapons to Africa for free. Is it natural resources? Putin have gas, have fuel, have oil. Till he supply to the West Europe and England. He supplied them with oil, with gas, with everything. They survive through Putin natural resources. Today, Europe is having gas because of Vladimir Putin. So what do Putin need from Africa? If Africans, so many Africans will message me, Putin is trying to control Africa, Putin is trying to colonize Africa, so don't support Putin. You cannot tell me who to support. I know who want Africa and who don't want Africa. I stand for the African freedom and African liberation. So we know who to point out as our friend and who to point out as our enemy. So if you tell me that Putin is trying to colonize Africa, America was not trying to colonize Africa? Europe was not trying to colonize Africa? England was not trying to colonize Africa? When they have make you people, Africans, a slave and destroy the future, any generation that is coming, they destroy their future. And at the end of the day, that generation came suffering. That generation have to keep on begging them. Generation upon generation have to keep on begging the Western peoples for money, for food, for even freedom. For how long when the Western world was controlling Africa, pretending that they are helping Africa, but Africa is begging them for freedom and they couldn't give Africa a freedom. So if today we have a man called Vladimir Putin who stood out and says Africa must stand on its own, Putin is doing that. It's not because Putin want to colonize Africa. Putin is in a war with the Western world. And Putin have a strategy that was very intelligent strategy to make the Western world to suffer. And Putin know the weakened point. The weakened point to make the West to suffer is to let all African countries to stand on their own and have their freedom and have their right. That's to make the West to suffer. That's why the West is suffering right now. Do you think America is not suffering? How many African countries are banning American dollar? Do you think it is good for Africa? How many countries have chased France away? Mali have already banned the French language. We all know it. Putin is not trying to colonize Africa. Putin is trying to weaken the West. The Western peoples. America, UK and Europe. Putin is trying to weaken them. And to weak West, you have to stand, make Africa to stand on its own. Make African countries strong. So that they will not be able to beg America. And they will not care about America anymore. That's what Putin is doing right now. Putin make African leaders not to feel afraid of going out from the West threatening policies. South Africa go out. Mali go out. Burkina go out. Guinea go out. Eritrea go out. Somalia go out. Central African Republic go out. All those countries go out today. Why? Because they feel like even if we go out, we will never suffer. We still have someone who is ready to help us feel free. Whatever Putin is doing for Africa is doing it for free. And he's not doing it to think like he is going to get something back from us.
Explain it all. Make it hear wetin they come out from my guy mouth. A man where they talk, as in they talk, when they look anybody face, he no one know who you are, who you be. In the focus for waiting, he no say God send them to do. Hear am, make you know wetin be the interest of Russians in Africans for helping Africans to liberate themselves from this.
Africa, no. Putin don't need nothing from Africa. Putin is just doing his fight in his strategy. The war between West and Putin, it is a good sign for Africa because it makes many African countries today to get what they want, to stand on their own. Believe me, even Zimbabwe, somebody said greeting from Zimbabwe. Burkina Faso, Ibrahim, the soldier who took over the leadership in Burkina Faso. Ibrahim, the military general, is ready to comply with Russia, and they are also planning to drop French language, the same as Mali, to kick out France, to kick out their language also, because that language, those languages are the biggest problem. I wish, even if Nigeria, Ghana, Gambia can also kick out English language from their countries as the official language, and plan to have their own language, like the same way Mali did. And Burkina Faso, the Ibrahim, the military general who took over the power, is really now ready is really now planning to drop French language, as Mali has already dropped French language, and Mali has banned US dollar on their new constitution. That if anyone being seen using US dollar, 45 years imprisonment will be the punishment. If they see you using dollar, American dollar, in Mali, you have to go to prison for 45 years. That was applied on the new constitution in Mali. And that I was also so proud of the Assimi Goïta, the Mali president, the army general who took over the Mali leadership. I am so proud of him for planning that. Kick out France and kick out French language and kick out the American dollar. Niger. Let's go to Niger. Today I want to speak about all these countries who were planning to have a big deal that will help us in the liberating Africa. Niger soldier declare coup on national TV on July 28, 2023. General Abdurrahman Tijani is ready to be a leader in Niger because he said the leader of Niger, the president, is really using Niger and selling out Niger to Europeans, the West. And he is ready to take over, to make a coup on him and become the next leader so that he could be able to comply as Mali with Russia, as Burkina with Russia. He want to also take Niger to that next level. Why do all African leaders are planning to do this job? Because Niger also is being controlled by European Union, who send their soldiers to Niger. They have so many, the West have so many terrorist groups in Niger that is terrorizing Niger and terrorizing sometimes Mali. But as Mali took themselves, they have more weapons from Russia, so they were able to conquer those terrorists around Mali. You know, this is another good thing, that Putin is empowering weapons to African soldiers so that they could be able to stand on their own. It's not like Putin empower African
evil colonizers, evil democracy people. They bring democracy, turn all the African leaders to crazies. They now become their puppet. They become their dog. Anytime they call them, they follow them. Watch this video, make it sound by your own self. No, can be sending me the talk.
Countries with weapons just to look the weapon. No, Putin do that for a reason, so that they will be able to conquer the terrorist group that was created by the West in Africa. The Western peoples, the Western governments have created so many terrorist groups in Africa that cannot be defeated because they supply them with weapons. The Western government supply those terrorist groups in Africa with weapons. And now Putin also know that to weaken them, he have to supply the African soldiers with a weapon, so that these African militaries will take those weapons and fight against the terrorist group that was created by the Western world. And Niger's General Abdurrahman, who is now trying to make a coup to take away Niger from the West and to comply with Russia so that they could also have a standard. And Niger have a big resources that could benefit Niger. But why is those resources not benefiting Niger, since it is benefiting Europeans, because Europeans are taking over every resources part in Niger. NATO have their camp in Niger, complying and having that camp. NATO have their soldier camp in Niger, and that they are stealing from Niger. And at the same time, they have a terrorist group in Niger that is terrorizing Niger. People who are living in Niger know what I'm talking about. There is a terrorist group in Niger right now that is terrorizing an area where they have a resources of oil. NATO formed their terrorist group in Niger, and that terrorist group is terrorizing that area, killing people, innocent peoples, all because the West want the oil of Niger. They want to steal the oil of Niger, so they have to make terrorist group to make war in Niger so that they could be able to have chances to steal the oil that they want to steal from Niger. And the Niger military leader have been complaining since 2020 that they don't have a weapons to fight against those terrorists, because the terrorists in Niger have more weapons than them. And the president is not ready to comply and give them weapons that they could defeat those terrorists, because if those terrorists are defeated, the president will not be happy. Because the president knows that those terrorist groups were created by the West, and he knows it very clear that the West wants something from that country. That's why they formed that terrorist group. And he is not ready to empower the military of Niger to fight against that terrorist. So he is just pushing them with small weapons to go and fight against those terrorists, when the terrorists have more weapons than the Niger soldiers. And they were killing so many Niger soldiers. So now the Niger general, Abdurrahman, have already realized that our leader is working with the West. We are the one fighting with this small AK-47, but at the
time, make you know be saying that everyone won't go to explain and make you hear them for the horse's mouth. I see Maka tell they explain this way, you go no say, Africa have woken up. My brother, keep on. Now God will protect you. They want to fall you and you will never fall. They have been blocking you all the social medias, but they keep on. God will see you through, because everything you are saying, we are seeing it happen in our eyes.
Terrorists have more weapons than us, have more dangerous weapons than us. And he have been complaining since. So now he said he wanna make a coup. He didn't hide it. He make it very clear that he wanna make a coup and he wanna become the president. From now on, he is the president of Niger. He make it very clear in the national TV on the 28th of this month. He make it very clear that he wanna rule that country. From now on, he is the president of that country. The president is out because he wanna work with Russia. Malawi, let's go to Malawi. President Lazarus says he will no longer sell his natural resources in dollar anymore, in American dollar. That is Malawi president. President Lazarus says he is not going to sell his natural resources in American US dollar. That was another slap on the face of on the West. And as we can see, Malawi President Lazarus is not joking with that when he make that statement, as he make that statement as a constitution, that he wanna stood up like South Africa. He wanna wake up like South Africa. When Putin already realized that many African countries are ready to comply with him, Putin also is ready to give beneficial things to many African countries that are ready to comply with him. But if any African country is not ready to comply, do you know how Putin see you? Because you work with the West and Putin hate the West. Putin is fighting against the West. So if you are an African leader and you still work with the West, you don't want to comply with Putin, then your country will die in poverty. And your country will never be free. Because as far as the West is promising you that we will help you, don't worry, don't join Putin. That's what the West is now planning. And that's what right now they are telling to some African leaders like Gambian president, Senegal president, let's go to Congo president, Ghana president, Nigerian president. This is what the West is emphasizing to them. That don't join Putin. We will help you. These countries that Putin is trying to colonize you people, don't allow it. If the West is telling us that Putin want to colonize Africa, What was the West doing to us? The West was not only colonizing Africa, they were killing Africans, making terrorist group in Africa, making wars in Africa, and colonizing us at the same time.
Watch this video, share them for me, follow the page. You know, as I drop them, legit now they drop. As I drop them, my people they feel them. Now so it be. Share them, toss aramia, spread them. First aramia, first aram. Follow the page, react on that like. Make Facebook recommend that to another people. As you watch and react them and share them, your own friends go see and watch them. Let's go, my soldier man, my most respected man. I see who is to speak the truth without looking anyone's face.
So let's just calculate West and Russia who love Africa so much. Who love Africa? If we want to say Putin want to colonize us, if the West is now making it to look like Putin want to control us, we should not allow it. What was the West doing to us? Putin never make any war in Africa. Putin never form any terrorist group in Africa. Putin never steal from any African country. But the West is now stealing. The West have been colonizing us, stealing from us, killing us, making wars in our countries in a different form of ways. And now we are saying that Putin, if some Africans call me and tell me this word, I feel ashamed. I see you as someone who is really crazy. You think I will comply with your own idea? What the West did to us, don't you see? What the West have done to us? The West was colonizing us, terrorizing us, killing us, making wars in our countries, trying to make sure that Africa never move, because the West know that if Africa move up, that is going to be a problem for them. And they are never going to get nothing from Africa if Africa wake up. That's what Putin have realized, that he is in a war with the West. And he can't fight the West with weapon. He have to fight the West with experience. What is the experience that Vladimir Putin have complied? He complied that to fight against West, I need to make African countries more stronger, to stand on their own and to go far away from the West. And the West is going to suffer, because Putin know that without West, without Africa, the West will not move. Putin knows this very clear. Vladimir Putin is not stupid. He knows what Africa, what the Western people have been stolen from Africa and what they have been doing to Africa. When they killed Mohammed Gaddafi, the West joined together to kill Mohammed Gaddafi, the former president of Libya. Putin, Mohammed Gaddafi was a best friend to the Vladimir Putin. And you think Putin is going to leave the West to still continue terrorizing Africa, when Putin right now in a war with the West? Putin is going to make sure that Africa gets itself. Those Africans know who they are. Those Africans, to empower those Africans militaries with weapons, so that they will never depend on the West again. And so many people don't understand this point. Putin is not helping Africa today because he wants something from